Right. Hi again. Okay, so I get like inspirations to make videos sometimes, and from what videos I'm seeing, so I'm just kind of jumping on the bandwagon here a bit. I'm just watching a video about the slave trade, and there's this nice lady talking about how the slave trade is not how we've been taught it is. She's actually saying something like. The way people have been taught is that white people went to Africa in their boats and went inland and bashed loads of black people over the head and put them on their boats and sailed off to America and made them into slaves. And I didn't actually watch much of the video because it just reminded me I want to make a video about the slaves. So anyway, that's not how it happened, because there were black tribes, collecting all the other black people and selling them as slaves to white people. That's how I understand it. It wasn't like the white people were there, collecting black people. It was the black people collecting black people and selling them, That's how it worked. It's documented. It's proper history. What the government and the media tell you is usually a load of lies. If you actually look into real history, you'll find that slavery was instigated by black people. Black people sold their own kind, their other black people, into slavery to make money for themselves because they were greedy and didn't have much humanity at all. And white people bought them because they were also greedy and didn't have much humanity at all. There's not really anything different. There's no difference between them. Trying to say that black people white people are worse than black people because of slavery is nonsense. It just doesn't make sense, right? White people have been sold into slavery a lot as well, But beside all of that, the message I want to put across here: we're all fucking slaves. The slavery we've got now is just money slavery. You've got the banks sucking all the wealth out of everybody's pockets all the time. That's real slavery. There's no escape from that. You can't escape from that kind of slavery. I mean, if you was a so-called slave, 100 years ago or 200 years ago, you could have escaped. The way things are portrayed, you could have escaped slavery. You could have escaped and run off somewhere, down into Mexico or something and been free. But now you can't do that. Because wherever you go, I hesitate to say Jewish bankers, but it pretty much is Jewish bankers. Although the vast majority of Jews are not involved at all. And Jews is a sort of word that's kind of, it's a difficult word to use because it's a trigger word. People automatically get triggered by the word Jew. I had a Jewish girlfriend a while ago. Well, for not very long, but for like a few months. She was really telling me about how all the Jews in the Middle Ages, they were confined by what jobs they could do. They weren't allowed to work in a lot of different jobs. They didn't have a lot of jobs. They couldn't work in theatre, for example. They weren't allowed to work in theatre because people believed that their ideas were what's the word? Like kind of evil propaganda. I'm trying to think of a different word. But anyway, they thought that the Jewish theatre had a very negative effect on people's social behaviour and stuff, so they wanted to not allow Jews into theatre and acting. They didn't want them writing stuff. They didn't want them writing poetry or anything like that. And so my girlfriend told me that they went into banking instead, right? I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? The thing is, what's happened now is that there's all these people that, like the Rothschilds and the people that own the banks and the Federal Reserve Bureau, they're keeping us all in slavery by controlling our money, you know. And every time, like I've talked about this before, when I was a child, my family could have bought our house for £6,000. Now, 40 years later, the same house has been on the market. Well, for the last 20 years, it's been on the market for £200,000. All that percentage of money has been stolen by the banks. That's what keeps people in slavery. But if you try to explain this to people, they just act stupid. They don't understand what you're talking about. All they know is that we always have inflation. It's just normal. That's all they've ever known. We've had inflation for at least 100 years. So that's what everybody knows. They know inflation, you know, and they know, all they know is being beholden to the banks. That's all people know, you know. And if you try to explain to them that actually you're in slavery, they don't want to know that. They don't want to think about that. They don't want to feel bad. People are so demoralized. They've been demoralized, you know, because the way the bank works and the government works, the school system works, the fact that cannabis cures cancer and it's illegal, you know, we are treated like the worst type of slaves. So we already have slavery. We already have slavery on a huge level. You know, it's you can't escape from it. It's everywhere. It's all around the world. We've got slavery. You can't build up money. You can't save money because the banks are constantly stealing it from you. You know, you buy a house for £6,000 40 years ago. Now it's worth 200,000. That's only because the banks have increased inflation to the point where they keep stealing everyone's money. You know, Paul. Well, let's talk about it then. Like, why don't we just keep reminding everyone that the banks are stealing everyone's money, that cannabis cures cancer, the schools cause irreversible trauma in 5% of people, and hot retarded chicks just is like incorrigible, you know. You know, that's why I talk about this stuff all the time. I will. I just carry on talking about it all the time. I watched some of your videos lately, Paul. And you, HRC. I've been watching your videos as well. The guy the guy that done all the sort of like. I went to his video, his channel, and looked at them. He does some okay videos. I'm not sure if I'm going to subscribe, but he's an interesting guy. And I watched some of your videos, Paul, about watched one about well, all your videos about MGTOW, aren't they? I watched one of your videos. It was about a half-hour video. I watched the whole thing. It was quite interesting, you know. The one where you you kept going, that stupid yuppie woman with the glasses, you know, that one. The feminist. Yeah, I know. She was a bit crazy. You nailed her. You pretty much nailed her. It was fun to watch. Where was I going with this video? Can anyone remind me what this video was called? Do I have to go and look it up somewhere? I'm so unprofessional. Slavery, that's what it was. Yeah, I mean, we're all in slavery. Hi, John. I don't know what you mean by permanent. It's proper. It's not bald anymore, that's for sure. Nice to see you. Have you done any cold therapy yet, John? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the one. Slave trade abolishment. It's never been abolished. They just changed the wording of the law, you know, and they changed the rules and they changed all the money way, the way of controlling money. So we're still slaves. It's just that we can tell ourselves that we're free. You know, oh, I'm free. I can, because the only thing difference about old slavery and new slavery is that now you can go to another country and be a slave there. That's the only real difference. You can decide where you want to be a slave. If I want to go and live in Norway, like with John, I'll still be a slave. If I want to go and live in California, you know, I'll still be a slave. If I live in France, I'll be a slave. It doesn't matter where I live. I'm still going to be a slave. The only way I can really go and live without being a slave is in Siberia or deep in the Amazon jungle or in Antarctica, you know, and these places are all difficult to get to. They're all difficult to live in. So they're not really a proper options, you know. If anyone can tell me anywhere else I can go and not be a slave, I'd really like to know, you know. Well, you know, Paul, I always like to have a smoke and a drink while I'm making videos because I always feel better. And if I feel better, I look better. I just had a letter through about my council tax. As, you know, they try every little way they can to get money out of you. That's how the system works, isn't it? It's about how to get money out of you. It seems like the government and the media and the medical establishment, they've never got enough money because they're all just sitting around. Think about it. They're not growing their own vegetables. They're not growing their own food. They're just sitting around trying to think up ways to get more money off everyone else. And what does that mean? Everyone else has got less money. And what does that mean? You have to work harder. And what does that mean? You're slaves because you have to keep working hard. Okay, it's like, I think I've got to the end of it now. The idea is that we're all still slaves anyway. It doesn't matter how you pay. They're gonna suck the life out of you if they can. And there's basically not much you can do about it. The only thing would be if you talk about it, but people generally don't talk about this stuff. So what else can you do? I'll have to try and make up for it. If you're not going to talk about it, I'll talk about it instead. And I'll keep talking about it until I don't know, until I'm dead, until YouTube disappears. I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, nice to see you all. Thanks for all your. I've got a lot of feedback on this video. I'm going to cut it off now anyway because I've said everything I wanted to say. Nice to see you all. Have a great day, you all people. Bye.